Hi, I'm Harlan Krumholz. I'm one of the co-directors of the ACC Asia Pacific Conference here in Shanghai, and I want to tell you a little bit about the conference. We've had a terrific time here. The meeting's been attended by trainees and attending physicians, academics and nurses, and what we've had are people from all over the world. A good constituency from the Asia Pacific region, especially from China, but also people from the United States and from the UK, all come together to try to learn together. The meeting started off with a pre-meeting that was held with Bob Harrington from Stanford and Valentin Fuster from Mount Sinai, and I joined them, and we spent a lot of time working with trainees to help them understand how they can translate their research into excellent papers, what it takes, what are the basics of that, and in particular, Drs. Harrington and Fuster provided perspective of what editors are looking for, but also shared their experience as researchers about what it takes to put together good research projects and to communicate the information clearly. We spent the entire afternoon on this, and there were a remarkable number of good questions and interactions. The meeting started the following day, and we've had really a wide range of discussions. I think what we found is that there's a lot of commonalities in the problems that we face. There's a lot of common challenges in trying to interpret the literature. At the same time, each country and each individual is facing in their own practices specific challenges and issues about the generalizability of the literature, the availability of specific medications, the modifications of behavior, the ability to practice and elevate practice. We've had people here who have talked about the guidelines as writers, someone like Carol Watson, who is participating with practical tips on how to implement the guidelines. And we've had people from countries who were readers of the guidelines, but leaders in their own country in seeking to find ways to tailor them for their own situation. Dr. Rahman, the governor from Bangladesh, provided insight as to how he's thinking about taking the hypertension information, which they've just recently received as we have, and thinking about how it is able to be provided into practice. Dr. Wang from Shanghai, one of the nations and actually international leaders in hypertension, talking about not only do we need to focus on the target of 130, but we have to recognize that there are many people with high blood pressure throughout China and actually the world who don't even know they have high blood pressure, even according to the old thresholds. So we've had a rich conversation. There have been many people here who've asked a lot of good questions. We sought to create the meeting so it was about interaction. We sought to create the meeting so ultimately there would be new friendships. And we sought to create the meeting, this first meeting of ACC Asia Pacific meeting, as a start, not as an end. And so it's been remarkably successful. There's been a lot of good feeling here. We've learned from each other, and I think we're well positioned to go back to where we came from and improve our practices, but also think about how we can have continuing dialogue with our colleagues from around the world, how we can model for other people about how we can all work together against disease as one team, one international team. How can we work together to make progress? And so we leave Shanghai with great feelings, new friends, and looking forward to future opportunities for us to collaborate and work together. One of the key points of the meeting was to emphasize that we want people to both understand the medical literature and be critical readers of it, not just simply accept what others say, but to think deeply about its meaning, its applicability to their practice, the strength of it. We're also making a big emphasis on guidelines and the distillation of that medical literature into practical recommendations. So throughout the meeting, we've emphasized this issue of paying attention to the literature, understanding the guidelines, but also being critical thinkers about it and being able to analyze for themselves what they think the literature means and then reflect on what experts are saying and have that kind of dialogue back and forth. Be active learners, not passive learners, and to be thinking about how it applies to their own individual practices. In the end, the best thing about this meeting was that we had so many young people who were trainees, learning to be doctors, learning to be researchers, and it was clear that they were so earnest and interested. Also, we were using social media to ensure that people who couldn't come to this meeting could still learn from the discussions and interactions that were occurring here, and it gives me great optimism for the future. The way in which they were excited by the conversations, their way that they were engaging in them. These kind of meetings are wonderful for the young investigators, for the early career people, and we did our best to try to make sure that they felt supported, welcome, and to tailor the content so that it would be very relevant to them.